Imperfect past tense. One of the usages. It's number 6. And the document that I shared with you guys, you know that. Now that in English is expressed in a specific way. So this is the explanation. What's the specific way? You have to say that you have been doing, have or had been doing a specific action, okay, for a specific amount of time. That's the key right there. Whatever goes after, it's it will be determined by the specifics within the tense that we are working on. In this case, that's the difference between the present tense and the present tense and the imperfect tense. The specifics, okay, within the tense that we're talking about. Now, in English, the structure is I have been watching, in this case as the example, watching television 3 hours for 3 hours, and it stops there. We stop it there, okay? When you stop it there, that can be translated in two ways in Spanish, okay? The first way is word by word, and that in English, grammatically, is a perfect tense, okay? Perfect progressive tense. Why is, and this is, make a parenthesis, this is why it's important that you understand the tenses, like the conjugation of the tenses, to be able to see the pattern within this one. So, what is a perfect tense? A perfect tense is a personal pronoun plus the auxiliary verb have in present or in past or in future, whatever, and then the verb in participle. Example: I have acted. So the acted is participle, have is the auxiliary, and personal pronoun I. I have acted. If we want to put that in perfect progressive, is I have been. B-W-E-E-N. I've been acting. So the been, B-I-B-E-E-N, will affect the main verb, that is act, to act, and you will have to put the ing there, acting. I have been acting. If we translate, for example, this first part of the example in Spanish, the same structure is applied in Spanish, word by word, and it's possible to translate word by word. Example: I have been, say, watching, because there is one in present tense. I have been watching. Yo, I have yo he been estado watching, viendo, okay, viendo, watching a movie, viendo, whatever. So yes, you can do that, but why we can't do this? Why can't we do this or translate this specific tense, this specific sentence with that structure in this case, in the present case and the past, the imperfect case, because of what is explained or expressed in the concept of this specific usage. So I read, and act number 6, in imperfect, an action or state of being that occurred in the past and lasted for a certain length of time prior to another past action. In English, it's usually translated as a pluperfect, perfect tense, as is formed with had been, or what I was explaining, plus the present participle of the verb you're using. It is like the special use of the present indicative. This is making reference to the present section, except that the action or state or being, this is the important part, no longer exists at the present. This is an idiomatic or conceptual use of the imperfect tense of a verb with asia. So, because the concept that is being expressed or explained within this tense, we cannot translate word by word this sentence. So we are not translating word by word. We are translating the concept that is being expressed in the imperfect tense. So this is the reason why now we have to apply a formula to translate what the concept within this sentence. I had been watching television for 3 hours when my brother came in is saying. What is the structure in imperfect tense as well as in present, but we're going to talk about imperfect only. So the imperfect is okay. So the first thing that we need to know is this word, asia. Okay. Now, asia, if you put it on Google Translator or you ask somebody to just translate that right away, uh, you don't know. You don't know until you know the whole sentence, how to translate it. Okay. So I had been. Within this formula, this asia is equivalent to I had been. Okay, that's what you're translating there. Then after that, we have to write down the rest is watching. Okay, watching whatever. But the formula tells us that right after asia, we cannot put the watching. We have to put the amount of time that we are doing. We had been doing this action. So again, hacía is equivalent to I had been. So, all right. Plus the amount of time. I'm just going to put it like that. Plus the amount of time. All right. Now, when we talk about time, do we need to just put numbers? Yes and no. Not specifically. You can put seconds, minutes, hours, days, months, years, everything related to time, all right? A period of time, specific period of time. You put the number there. You say 3 hours, you say 3 seconds, 3 hours, 3 seconds, 3 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years, 3 centuries, whatever. Okay? Now, after that, always, and this is important, always, you must put que. Que is a connector or a linking word that is required here. So hace or hacía 3 horas, 3 hours. Que. If you start the sentence just by saying hacía 3 horas, yo comía, you're gonna get the Latin American person or the Spanish person lost. What? Because there's a que. There must be a que there. Hacía 3 horas que, there's always. And if you say hacía 3 horas que and you don't say anything else, they're gonna ask you, what did you do? ¿Qué? ¿Qué pasó? What happened? Okay. So after that, that's when we're going to put the verb in conjugated in imperfect tense. It's important you know that what personal pronouns doing the action. Okay, for example, I could say right now, hacía 3 horas que explicaba la clase. So that, how would you translate that? I have been teaching the class for 3 hours. Okay, so it's not word by word, but remember again that hacía is just I had been, and then the que is just part of the formula that you're adding, and then explaining is the explicaba at the end after the que. Okay, so you have to yeah get one. You have to we do multiple exercises in a little bit. In a little bit. Okay, so right after you put the verb, always in a regular sentence, you will always put their information. related or regarding the action that you're doing, just to complement the action that you're doing, to clarify, to be more specific. Okay? Now, in this case, it's saying that this action was happening up to a moment until the next action happened. And then the next action is a perfect past tense. Okay, so involves this action involves another person. Usually, you would have there a question word that is going to be um, working as a connector. It's another connector. For example, here in English says, I have been watching television for 3 hours when. That's a question word that's being used as a connector to add the um, other participant, if you will, or the other pronoun, or the other subject, or the other person who's doing the action. Okay, so same thing happens in Spanish. Hacía 3 horas que miraba la televisión cuando. And then you can say, you can start like it starts here, mi hermano, my brother, or you can say Trevor, o él, o ella, o usted, o Pedro, María, nosotros, whatever personal pronoun you want to use, did this. Pum. And that's it. That's when it ends. Okay? That sentence. Good. Any questions?
Can you use nosotros in that example?
Yeah, you can say, hacía 3 horas que miraba la televisión cuando nosotros.
And we came in?
No, because it doesn't make sense. You cannot be part
That's
of.
what I'm asking.
Yeah, but you can say nosotros and then something else happened. Nosotros escuchamos algo. We heard the dogs barking.
Okay.
I've been watching the television for 3 hours when we heard the neighbors making noise, screaming, knocking on the door, whatever. So to stop. Okay. Questions? Any other questions? No. So only hacía for imperfect tense. You that cannot be that word there. It's not conjugated at all. Within so every time I give you a formula, that's how it is. You're not gonna conjugate it unless I'll tell you that can be conjugated. For example, the only thing within this sentence or formula that can be conjugated or changed is the time, the amount of time, and the word, the verb that goes after que, and the verb that is doing the other person in perfect past tense. For example, hacía doesn't change. 3 horas change. Que doesn't change. Miraba change. And then the rest is just information. La televisión, the television. When information. And then the mi hermano, whoever did the action, that just you know who's doing the other action. And the verb conjugate is conjugated based on the person on the personal pronoun on that person. So yeah, only I guess three things within the sentence that can be changed. Besides that, yeah, nothing.
So how would you ask, make the statement, we had been,
Yeah, okay, yeah. Go ahead, again.
how would you make the statement, we had been watching television for 3 hours and rested?
Oh, simple. Hacía, the beginning always starts the same way. You cannot change that. What it's indicating that you or whoever else is participating in the main action, in the main sentence, whatever goes after que.
So
The
you
ending,
know,
exactly, the ending of that verb indicates who's been doing this action. Okay, I'm not putting there the personal pronoun because now we're getting to a different level of communicating in Spanish, where it's now required to put the personal pronoun there. So, hacía 3 horas que mirábamos la televisión cuando mi hermano, my brother, we cannot be family, but my brother came in. So we have been watching the television for 3 hours when my brother came in, okay? Or when our brothers came in. So